Warning. Spoiler alert. Warning. Spoiler alert. Warning. Spoiler alert.
Somebody was sad I went to go see the movie today, so he wants some
Without
love.
him? Oh.
Well, usually when I wake up, he just kind of hangs out with me for a minute, and he flew right at my shoulder, and I was like, "No, bud, you can't come to the theater with me. You would not be happy there." I did have a movie theater faux pas though.
Uh-oh, what'd you do?
I didn't do it, but the jackass next to me did it.
Oh no, on his phone?
No, he kept talking and telling
Oh.
his. So he brought like his daughter, like he was big. I could tell as soon as he sat down, he's like, "Hey man, you excited?" I was like, "Fuck me, I got that guy. I got that guy."
Oh no.
And I'm like,
You got
"Yeah,
the
man,
me.
I'm pretty fucking excited." And he's like, "Great, dude. I've heard it's amazing." I was like, "Yep, that's what I've heard too." And then the girl next to him was like, "So what are we watching?" I was like, "Motherfucker."
Oh no.
So like he kind of like had to tell like keep her what was going on, and so I looked back into my right, and up in the upper right hand side of the theater, it was just like completely empty. And I was just like, "Excuse me, I'm gonna go to the bathroom." And I just headed up there, and I had my own little quiet section to myself,
Nice.
where I was able to enjoy the rest of the movie. I think he ruined about 20 minutes of the first part of the movie before, because like as soon as Matt Murdock came in, that's when he's like, "That's Daredevil." I was like, "You can shut the fuck up now." And then like she asked something else. I was like, "I'm going to the bathroom. I'll be right back." And then I just never came back because
God.
I'm not gonna sit there. Like it was the time I went on a date to Kingsman 2, and the girl's like, "Is this a sequel?" I was like, "Yeah, that's why it's Kingsman 2, the golden ticket." And she's like, "Oh," and so I was like, "I'm gonna have to explain the whole movie to you, aren't I?" And
Oh,
she was like, "Kind of,
no.
yeah." But luckily there weren't that many people there, and it was just us. So,
Okay.
but I was like, I'm not gonna sit there and be a third party to stuff I already know.
See, this is great ammo for me to remind my husband what he doesn't have to deal with.
Yeah.
I'm not some dumb bimbo.
Mm.
Sorry, no offense, ladies. You're not dumb if you don't know about geek movies. I apologize. Let me
No,
just
but don't.
calm the sister tits here. Yes, just
Let's
calm
get
your
that
sister
going.
tits
Hashtag
here.
sister tits.
Hashtag
Okay.
sister tits.
So before we get into anything, let's talk
Are we
about
officially are we officially making this our Spider-Man spoiler? 'Cause I
yeah,
have to.
this is
I have a hard
spoil-
stop at 4.
Yeah, this is a spoiler review. It's in the thumbnail. If you can't read the thumbnail or the description, sorry. Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, I guess we should have preempted that before Jared said Daredevil. But hey, again, if you can't look at this, if you can't see the thumbnail or read the description, sorry for the blind community. But how did you find it?
Look, okay.
That was
look,
a little dark. I'm sorry.
everybody
Matt Murdock
knew.
says thanks.
Yeah,
Everybody
sorry.
knew Matt Murdock was in the movie. There's no way that
because of John Campea, we knew, unfortunately.
No.
Yeah, I wish there was. I wish I could have had.
Have you seen John Campia's newest video?
No, I don't watch John Campea. I haven't for many years.
I'll give you the talking points real quick.
Okay.
So remember when the pictures were given to him?
Yep.
And they said that there was somebody in the mocap suit.
They said there was somebody in the mocap suit. All I saw was the one with the 3 Spider-Man and then Matt Murdock.
Correct. He said he showed the 2 pictures, but said he had more.
Come on.
Okay.
And he did not want to say who the other ones were, but there was one person in a mocap suit.
I'm guessing Sandman then.
No, because what was on his latest video was the person that was in the mocap suit was not even in the movie.
Really?
This was not in the movie. So where he's getting his information from, where he doesn't know, it's somebody deep on all of these sets. This is something from another project coming up. And so I was like,
tells me Kevin Feige would also like to know who John Campea's source is. Where's that movie where like some internet scooper has like a deep, mole inside this big franchise, and Kevin Feige and the Damage Control Organization is going after John Campea to reveal his sources? It's like a thriller.
Time to find that new Winter Soldier.
I guarantee you it's like a friend of a friend or some shit like that, and they're like huge massive geek nerds about everything.
Probably.
It's somebody's like key grip or best boy on the set, just like holding the boom and like taking pictures.
I think you mean former key grip or person.
Key grip.
All right, so what do we rank this movie? What do we say out of so my good friends over at Gingerflix, they do, out of 5 gingers,
Okay.
So we can do something similar. Let's go shorts being bad, hoodies being good out of 10.
No, I'm gonna rank it out of 8 toesies because that's how many toesies the birdies have, and that's a cute little song I used to sing.
That has nothing to do with shorts or hoodies.
That's fine.
So how many hoodies do you give it?
How about thwips? How many thwips out of 5?
Okay, how many thwips? Out of 5? Nah, let's go 10.
Out of 10?
Out of 10, yeah. Stephanie, what do you think?
I would go a 9 out of 10. And I know you guys are really annoyed that you guys text me like, what's my rating? So I said originally it's like 4 out of 5 was my gut feeling. Right. And why do I think that?
Yeah.
My only real gripe about this movie, and this is totally a personal thing, so if somebody hates on me for it, that's totally fine. But it's the same sort of thing that I didn't like. I liked most of Thor Ragnarok, but what I didn't like was I got 15 okay jokes instead of 5 really good jokes. And so that takes me out of a movie sometimes. There were a few jokes that were like, okay. And I'm like, it kind of slowed the story down a tiny bit for me. That's literally my only qualm, because what I did, I just watched most of or part of No Way Home again. Sorry to all those internet people. I did not do it legally. Don't arrest me for this, but
okay, I did it too.
Yeah, because I wanted to watch it again because I wanted to see, because this is the same thing like when I first saw Wonder Woman. I was so hyped to see Wonder Woman, where then when I watched it, because I watched the trailer 1,000 times, I'd watched every clip 1,000 times. When I finally watched it, I was like, oh, okay, nah, that's good. So then I'm like, okay, is that the same thing happening here? So I went back and I watched most of it again, and I really did improve my score. So I would say out of thwips, 10 out of thwips, I would say a 9 out of 10. That's a really good score. That's an incredibly good score. I would put most movies within 6 to 7, right? They were okay. This is a great movie. And I don't like that my 9 out of 10 is a what? 9 out of 10. That's a great score. That's an A. That's an A movie for me. My only qualm is just like, there are certain jokes where I'm like, they just didn't land with me. And that's a personal thing. That doesn't mean the movie's bad. Just some of the execution of like jokes and what they threw in. I'm like, that's all right. But the overall story is great. It's a genius way of doing, like, bringing in the other Spider-Man movies. It's genius for doing that. So it gets full marks on that. In gymnastics, there's your difficulty score and there's your execution. And so a little bit of execution where I'm like, I don't know. I could take it or leave it. But for the most part, awesome movie. Incredibly awesome movie. So that's my feeling.
Jared?
I'm kind of with Stephanie, but on an opposite end of the spectrum here. I wish that they would have cut out some of the jokes, just because this is a movie that I actually shed tears twice and almost a third time in, which if anybody knows about my movie review of We Were Soldiers, I cried like a bitch. I cried like a bitch in We Were Soldiers. I rarely ever cry during movies. So when I cry during this one, I'm giving it 10 out of 10, just because I feel like this is the Into the Spider-Verse that we should have got. I think that they did a really, really good job with it. It's just, I wish they would let me sit in the fields for a little bit longer.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I do it when I'm in the fields too, around other people, and we're having like really hard moments. I kind of throw a joke in there, but it lands usually really, really well. And that was the problem, is that the jokes that they threw in during the fields parts didn't hit like they should have, to kind of make everybody go, go from crying to happy to back to sad. So, but I still give it 10 out of 10 because I feel this is the Into the Spider-Verse that we should have gotten.
Huh?
Yep.
Dash,
9 out of 10 is still a great score. I don't think I'm not going to be 0 or 10. That's just, I don't do that. So I'm going to be honest.
Stephanie, you give it a 9 out of 10. Jared, what was your score?
I give it a 10 out of 10, just because with Endgame, I was able to live in the fields. Yeah. If I can live in the fields and I can actually have emotions during the movie, typically it's like, yeah, you moved me enough. There you go. 10 out of 10. Thank you, by the way, Dash, for wearing a hoodie today. Stephanie.
I know, right? Yeah. Wait. Stephanie, no hoodie.
I'm
me,
in between church services, so I have to go watch another one.
For me, me and Stephanie talked last night about this.
How dare you?
Sorry, you
We're
hadn't
cheating
seen
on
it
you, Jared.
yet.
Sorry.
I know. A little birdie said that I'm part of a movie podcast. So you should probably watch the movie.
I'm just saying.
I wasn't trying to call you out, Dash.
I know,
was saying
but
little
I'm just
birdie.
saying.
Although I am really glad you made me get off my ass and order the movie ticket last night. So I appreciate that.
Good. I will say 10 out of 10. And I will preface it by saying, I guess I shouldn't say preface because that would be before. I would anti-preface. I'm not a good English word person.
Don't know what the word would be for anti-preface. There's probably a term for that.
Post-prefacing.
10 out of 10. If I could give it more, I would.
Okay.
I
don't think you're wrong for thinking that, by the way.
I walked out of the theater. Before I even walked out of the theater, I'm 3/4 of the way through the movie, and I'm thinking to myself, this is the greatest superhero movie that I've ever seen. It's no secret. Winter Soldier is my favorite comic movie. It destroyed Winter Soldier for me. And I mean, not taking anything away from Winter Soldier. I love that fucking movie so much. But I walked out of this sitting here going, this is the greatest movie I've ever seen. And to me, that's Endgame. I mean, granted, nostalgia reasons and everything, it's always going to be Mighty Ducks. But Endgame is, to me, the perfect movie. This went past that. And I think what it was the bringing together of all three Spider-Men. It wasn't just, they didn't just bring in the Raimi-verse and the Web-verse. They brought in the Netflix verse as well. And the Sony verse. So everything came together into the MCU, so to speak, even though it is a Sony movie. There are a lot of questions that I do have, but it's one of those things that we may get answers down the road.
Sure.
With MCU, everything is done for a reason. There are very rarely big mistakes or plot holes like that. Well, I shouldn't say plot holes because it is movie,
It is interesting that it took Doctor Strange how long to finally do the sling ring, and it took Ned clapping your hands and believing. I guess that was like my biggest but I'm fine with it. Like there's your id and then there's your consciousness, right? So my subconscious is like, okay, sure, whatever. Yeah, it's a comic book movie. It's like Lord of the Rings, right? There are elves and there are dwarves. Okay, sure. Yep, let's go with it. Right. But I still have in the back of my mind, like, you just said Doctor Strange took how long to use the sling ring, but Ned just...
Remember, Doctor Strange was a doctor. He used to believe in the physical and what he could do. And they were like, you have to be able to believe it. And Ned believed so much in Spider-Man and everything else like that. So when he's like, my mom says we're magic. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, let me try this. And then boom, he's already got a lot of that belief. He just randomly did something. And, it's
fair. That's totally fair. I give you that point. I give you that point. You're right. Yeah, that is probably accurate. That's just probably me being cynical.
And that is one thing that I thought whenever Ned said the line about, their mom says there's magic in the family, or whatever. I was like, that's a weird line just to put in there.
It's a weird
line. Then later on, he's like,
right.
And I'm like, okay.
Because doesn't Ned become Hobgoblin in one iteration of the comics?
Supposed to.
Yeah.
Right. He gets brainwashed into becoming Hobgoblin. I was trying to read about it because my friend said, oh, Ned's a supervillain in the comics. I was like, oh, really? It's interesting. And then that conversation he has with Toby about, did you have a best friend in your world? Yes. He tried to kill me and then he died in my arms. Like, oh my God.
After he says that, Ned's expression was just gold.
It was really funny. Yeah. But then again, that's, I don't know how, I don't know another way that conversation really could have happened.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I watched Spider-Man 3 and Amazing Spider-Man 2 before I saw this. Because I think this kind of, I could probably give this a little bit higher, maybe 9.5 out of 10, because of the fact that it kind of does what Endgame did for Thor: The Dark World, where it backwardsly makes those movies better. It makes, I mean, I don't know if it makes Spider-Man 3 better because woof, but well, some of it woof. But
I don't think they left Spider-Man 3.
No,
I think
I don't
Spider-Man
think so.
3 is.
Yeah, I don't think they like most of that movie. Some of that movie is fine. Sandman's fine, but the dancing scene, oh God, Raimi, why do you like doing that crap? But it makes Amazing Spider-Man 2, which like I said, I just recently watched for the first time, and I'm like, oh, this movie is actually pretty good. And it kind of even makes that movie better because Garfield really, really gets to shine in the movie. He's such a good actor. And the scene where he catches Zendaya, like, even though we all knew it was probably going to happen because of what we saw in the trailer, just the way that he plays it on his face, like that did break me. I really actually did cry because that's heartbreaking.
Think about how many years he's had to think about that, and then someone's like, dude, check it out, you're gonna get to save NMJ. Like, could you imagine building up to that scene, like how many years later? And by the way, I am wrong, I have seen the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 now that because when Octavius was talking about things, fuck off, bud. When Octavius was talking about things, like I started to remember the Amazing Spider-Man. It's just, again, they weren't that prevalent because a lot of people were like, these suck. But yeah, no, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for jogging that.
What was your favorite like moment of the movie? Yeah, Steph.
I don't know if I'd call it a favorite, but although it did get spoiled for me because, again, of a-holes on YouTube and their a-hole thumbnails ruined for me that May dies. Yeah. They ruined that for me. So it was another Force Awakens garbage again. So to that person.
I cried so hard.
The way they did it was so surprising. Even though, you know, like, you saw the tines on the glider and you saw it cut through and you're like, oh crap, she's probably gone. But then she stands up, right? So it's like, oh, maybe she's gonna be okay. No.
I cried harder with May than I did Tony. And I cried hard with Tony. I was literally center stage in the movie theater. Like, everybody literally was around me. And I was just, I was bad. I was bad.
I didn't see it coming. I truly did not see it coming. I was like, because as soon as the glider hit her, I was like, there's no way. I was like, she's fine. Okay, she's good. And then, you know, in my mind, I was like, there's no way they're going to do a fucking, you know, a spin on this. And then out of nowhere, May stumbles. And I'm like, no. Like, okay, she threw the line out there. Okay, that's cute. No,
I love that's my favorite part of the scene. And even knowing what happens, that's my favorite part of the scene. I think that's probably my favorite delivery of that line in any of the movies, with Ben and whatever.
Accurate too.
Is it?
Yeah,
because of how she says it.
The way she says it, it's line for line the way it is in the comic, not the way, you know, Uncle Ben has said it. Yeah, I mean, it's comic accurate. So I appreciated that.
I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to believe that that's what they were going to do.
Oh,
Tom Holland's face is what broke me. Just it's like probably I want to say, it's hard to say one of the best death scenes. That's hard to say 10 times fast.
It is.
Best death scenes. But the fact that she's like, what's going on? And the way that she plays it on her face was so, oh man. And the way he played it on his face. Yeah. I mean, that is the origin of Spider-Man, right? That is what he has. It's like Loki, right? There's these fixed points in all these different multiverses. There's still fixed points that happen in everybody's. No, but I'm saying the fixed point is that his mentor and that someone says those words to him, right? It becomes a fixed point in the multiverse that
what drives them and pushes them into that. Yeah.
Right. So I guess that's that was the breaking point of the movie for me. And then second would be, I mean, I really, really loved the 3 Spider-Men together. I really, really loved it.
When Tom Holland shot his web against the other two and pulled them around. I was like, it was the scene when they're all talking and they all jump off the scaffolding and they go down. Tom Holland shoots his web up. The other guys do too, and then he shoots his web like through theirs, and it slingshots them.
Oh yeah.
around. And I was like, whoa. It was one of those like Captain America with Mjolnir bouncing it off the shield and like the vibrations coming off of it. Like it was a cool, like kind of science moment, like physics kind of thing. Yeah, it was really cool. Jared, what about you? What was your big moment of the movie?
Literally just had it like 2 seconds ago as Stephanie was talking. I had a sudden realization that the Venom that we know from Tom Hardy was the 6th individual that was pulled in with that end credit scene, and he somehow knew who Spider-Man was in his universe. I just realized that right now.
Well, he knew who he was because of the post-credit scene in Carnage.
I never watched Let There Be Carnage.
I watched that scene, but again, like we talked about last night, Dash, I thought in the end credit gets, like the spell happens, he gets pulled in and then sees Peter Parker. Like, how does he know about Peter Parker before he knows about Peter Parker, unless the Venom suit knows?
I'm not sure if that was, and viewers can kind of speculate too in the comments on this. So this movie hadn't come out when Let There Be Carnage happened.
Okay, so do I need to watch Let There Be Carnage to understand this?
No, I haven't seen Let There Be Carnage. I haven't seen
the end credit scene.
Okay, well then I because I was this close to buying Let There Be Carnage and another movie last night, and I didn't because I got the camera instead. So I'm gonna remove my headphones if you're gonna talk about it because I don't want to get it spoiled.
Well, it's just the end credit scene.
Yeah, that's it.
It doesn't not the rest of the movie.
I haven't seen Venom at all.
Okay.
So I can't speak on it. But what I was going to say is when that happened in the post-credit scene, No Way Home hadn't come out yet. Okay.
Correct.
So we didn't know about the purple and all that stuff too. But what had happened, the multiverse did open with Scarlet Witch.
Oh, okay. So maybe he was here before.
So think of Scarlet Witch, think of Loki. Okay. You saw Loki, right?
Yeah, I saw Loki.
Okay. So you remember that moment when Kane goes and he like stops and he's like, everything has changed.
It's all gone.
That is what I think the moment that happened with Venom. Not necessarily the things opening up. Scarlet Witch started the multiverse. It carried. Do you think
what she did is why the spell misfired like this, possibly?
Possibly.
Because of what she did.
But I don't think, and this is one of those things where like I have a lot of questions that I think will be answered in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness because it is a direct sequel to No Way Home.
Absolutely.
From what I understand, it picks up right away.
Well, they
like it even parts of No Way Home, like where Doctor Strange is trapped, will be in this new movie as well. So
is Spider-Man in he's in the Multiverse of Madness, right?
We don't know
not
yet.
in the trailer.
Okay.
You saw the trailer at the end, Jared?
He did not.
I walked out before that. I thought there was only one end credit scene, and I wanted to beat the crowd so I could get here on time.
They did like a whole 1.5 minute teaser trailer for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. That's the after the credits.
Yeah, well, maybe.
So me and Jared talked about it a little bit. The good thing is he has seen What If.
I've seen What If.
So probably,
I have not seen What If, and so that's what I will be doing today.
I beat you all then.
My brother told me about what is it,
Doctor Strange, as I like to call him.
Yeah. So
well,
I knew I was gonna have to watch it, but I was like, it'll be fine. And then
it's so good. It's so good.
It's not like good, but it's not bad either. Like it's an amalgamation of stories, and like one of the things that I always talk about is I have to be able to get entrenched with the characters, and some of these characters, because they're from different universes, I'm just like, I don't have that connection. Like, I don't know if this is my Natasha, I don't know if this is my Barton, I don't know if this is my Strange, I don't like that I don't have an attachment to those characters. So to me, it feels like a bunch of little cool short stories.
Okay. Fair enough.
And I know you asked the question. What was the question again? What was
your favorite like boom moment, like big moment for you?
Yeah, I like
or whatever.
I like when things come in reality. I know I've said this before about like Superman. I like in the new Superman 52 where he's more humanized because he technically grew up on Earth. It was Holland's realization that as he was ordering the coffee, it was just let them be. They are better off without me. And I think he had heard that conversation between Maguire and Garfield about how like it's complicated when he does have a Mary Jane, but it's also very complicated to just live my life as, you know, the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I feel like he did overhear that conversation because he's got the Peter tingle, but I just think it was amazing that like there was the moment of realization where he was just like, I gotta let them go. That to me was big.
I read that as a little different than that. I read that as he did see the scar. I need to keep my distance, but I also looked at it as this needs to happen naturally. But this is not what I saw more than anything. It was her necklace that she still had on.
Of his?
Of the
Black Dahlia.
Yeah. So that was like in the center of the screen was that necklace. And it wasn't one of those things to where she didn't question where she got it, even though this had just happened. I mean, when it didn't, I don't think it just happened because I mean the healing on Tom Holland's face was pretty good by that point. You know, there was hardly anything. It was a little something on his eyebrow. That was it. But
doesn't he? In this universe, does he have accelerated healing like Toby does? No,
I don't know.
Or like Andrew does, I should say.
I don't know.
One of them has accelerated healing or somewhat accelerated. Because remember was it Amazing Spider-Man 2 that, Harry Osborn wants his blood because he's dying of the same thing that Norman did. And so he wanted Peter's blood because he has super healing or something like that, if I remember correctly.
In excruciating pain, aren't you?
Some of those clips are super good. Yeah. So the whole thing with the 3 Spider-Men was so mwah, 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 mwah. That's such a like that could have gone so wrong and been so like the quips that are in that part, I don't mind anything from about midway on in the movie. I don't have any qualms. Well, I shouldn't say that. I have a little bit of a qualm with why Sandman had to join the bad guys against Peter when Norman says we're gods and we shouldn't have to do this. Like, I don't know if I totally bought that Sandman. I get Norman and I get oh God, what's Electro's name?
Max.
Max, thank you. I get Norman, I get Max because they don't want to go home and they don't want to give up their powers. I totally get that. Ock was on the right side based on character motivation. But Sandman, his motivation, he says, oh, I don't trust anybody, but did kind of help Peter at the beginning. So it's like
how though he was in the original movie though too was
I suppose
he was always for himself. He was for his family or for his daughter, but he was about himself. And that's why like whenever he popped up in the Electro scene, I liked because at the end of what was it? Was it the third one that he was in?
Yeah,
the third one.
When at the end of that movie, him and Toby had reconciled.
Yep,
and they were kind of friends. And so I liked that whenever he came into the MC universe, MC universe, that's funny. But when he came in, he was kind of a good guy. He was helping Spider-Man.
Agreed.
Deflect Electro.
Agreed.
But then afterwards, it was like, hey, what did you do with him? You're going to do that to me too, because I have powers just like him. And so he reverted back to his natural instinct of I'm for myself.
Sure.
You did
That's
this
fair.
to this person. I'm
That's
like
fair.
him. We're not together. So
he reverted so quick too.
It
was so quick.
It was a little quick. That's my only qualm. I don't have a full problem. It's a nitpick, not a qualm, I should say. And my levels of whatever. It's a tiny bit of a nitpick, but that's it.
But to Dash's point, I mean, if he literally just reconciled and then he meets Peter and like they had just reconciled, like, just right before that blip where he came over, I could see why he would flip really fast though. Because they're like just became friends and Pete's like, oh wait, you're not my Peter. Whoa, wait a second.
Sure.
You just Yeah, like, oh, but William Dafoe whooping the shit out of Spider-Man. You
Sure
want to talk
did.
about a good fight scene? I
Let's go
like
ahead.
the way they did the first fight. That
Yeah.
second fight, I wish they would have stopped with the quick fucking cuts. Stop with the quick cuts. Give us a wide angle and give us a good fight scene like John Wick and every other movie can do.
Yeah. Well,
Marvel.
but
We
the
had that
problem is
more.
John Wick has actual stunt performers, and Willem Dafoe is whatever 60 plus years old, and
He
I don't know
did
how many.
most of that stuff, though. That's the thing.
Did he?
He did.
Okay.
I
There
don't
was
care.
there was an
I
interview
don't
with
care.
him and
It's a little quick
the
cutting.
director
You're right.
of. He was like, I want to do as much stuff as I can with all the physical stuff. But yeah, we'll leave that into mine real quick because.
Oh yeah, sorry, Dash. You've like
Yeah.
hogged this whole thing. Let's go
I'm
into
sorry.
yours.
No,
I
you're good.
apologize,
You're
Dash.
good. Because I mean, if you watch the show, you know it's no secret that I'm a fan of Daredevil and Charlie Cox. That I think he walks on water, and to bring him into the MCU and for him to show up as the first like boom
Awesome.
big Easter egg was like when the cane like undid, and I was like, oh, and then the catching of the brick, I was like, oh, this is so boss.
Really good lawyer.
It's also not a big secret that I'm the biggest Andrew Garfield fan of all the Spider-Man. When Ned did the whole thing and he turned around and I saw the lenses, Andrew Garfield's suit is my favorite of the three, and it has to do with the lenses that it's exactly like the Amazing Spider-Man in the comics. I love the big lenses. I like the the Nike the tread on the suit. I'm a big fan of it. But
That's
for
so
me, those aside, it was probably Jamie Foxx.
Really? Okay.
Between Green Goblin and Jamie Foxx. I mean, so let's talk about Green Goblin. I thought he was way more evil in this movie
Agree.
than in the original. When he's sitting there getting hit in the face and he's just smiling, I was like, oh shit, like this is like a super goblin.
This is not the Defoe we know.
No, it's not. And then I was actually surprised. I thought we were going to see more Green Goblin and Doc Ock because they were bigger villains, one in the comics than Electro. The Raimiverse was bigger than the Webverse. But Jamie Foxx, I thought stole the movie more so than I thought he would have. Sure. Like I thought him and Goblin were like the two main ones, and I thought going into it, this was going to be a Doc Ock and Green Goblin movie, and it was not. I thought Alfred Molina did a good job at taking a back seat to Jamie Foxx. I thought I loved the interaction between Andrew Garfield and Jamie Foxx again. The same back and forth kind of thing that they had in the Amazing Spider-Man 2. But my favorite thing about that was the call out for Miles Morales.
That was cool.
When he was cool. Like, I thought
you were black.
I thought you were black. I was like, oh. He's like, there's got to be a black Spider-Man. I was like, there is. It's like, bring him in. And I was like, but he doesn't know who Peter Parker is, so he wouldn't be here. So okay, maybe next time.
Well, I mean, if Into the Spider-Verse is technically canon, then yes, he does know. But like,
yeah. That would have been interesting, kind of like a Alvin and the Chipmunks, where like, you see animated Miles Morales pop in. That'd have been weird.
Yeah, but see, this is the thing.
Cool,
there's already a Miles Morales in the MCU.
It's true.
Yep. We haven't met him yet. So in Homecoming, Donald Glover's character, whenever he has that interaction, with Tom Holland, and he's like, I got a nephew running around or whatever. He's on the phone. He's like, I'm sorry, Miles, I'm not going to be able to make it or whatever. That's Miles Morales.
Oh, yeah.
So there already is a Miles there, and that Miles doesn't know about Peter Parker.
True.
So.
But the Miles in Spider-Verse would know if Spider-Verse is considered MCU or not. Yeah, that's the question.
Then we'd have to have like a Cool World Roger Rabbit moment to where there's cartoons running
again. You're saying it like it's a bad thing. How cool would that look?
It's a bad thing, but there's movies for that. Yeah.
It would look weird.
I mean, if there was just like a little digital glitch in like the corner of the screen where you could definitely tell that there was, that kind of Into the Spider-Verse thing where there was just kind of a small little glitch. even just a nod to that would have been pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
But
as
I'm
the
sorry.
multiverse is ripped, I'm gonna go back and watch that again and try to see all of the figures that are in the purple clouds, because you saw Rhino.
I saw Rhino.
We saw Rhino. We saw
And we
Scorpion.
saw Craven. Craven the Hunter.
Oh, you saw Craven? I missed that.
It was the first one that you saw.
Oh, I missed
the
it.
spear.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're right. You're right.
No, I had my glasses on for the movie. I was like, oh, I'm watching everything. What were your favorite Easter eggs?
I want to go back to the Defoe thing though.
Okay, sorry. Defoe.
The Defoe thing.
I defer to the Defoe.
No, that's okay.
Bell Biv Defoe.
I just look, William Defoe, I don't care how old you are. If you are going to do the scenes, we have the technology to do good fight scenes where it's not these shitty ass quick cuts anymore. I may have been spoiled by John Wick. I may have been spoiled by a lot of other things, but God fucking damn it. Stop with the cut. Stop with the quick cuts. It kills a fight scene. It kills a fight scene for me. I don't know about you guys. I'm sorry. I'm super
especially because in Shang-Chi they didn't do that. Shang-Chi had a lot of good steady shot. Yeah, I mean, I can agree with you a little bit on that. I guess it didn't take me out of it, but then you're right. If it hadn't been as quick cutty in that section, maybe it would have been a bit more visceral.
I mean, I
can kind of go both ways with it.
Yeah.
I like one shots because you get to just take it all in, and then but I do like quick cuts too, because I mean the whole movie is kind of a quick cut, especially with all the Spider-Man and all that action and stuff like that. You're getting it from all angles, and so I get that they kept it the same throughout the whole movie. So I mean, I get what you're saying.
I'm sorry. I'm very passionate about that stuff because
don't apologize for your opinion. That's totally fine.
I get what you're talking about, because like it shows the visceral hatred that he has, where it's like quick, fast, furious. But then I'm also like, but they can do it correctly. Yeah. And they've done it correctly in the past.
I did appreciate that we had the one shot at the end on the shield whenever dude took him and power bombed him into the shield. And I was like, that was pretty badass. So thinking along those same lines, what the other fight scenes could have looked like, especially in the condo, could have just been amazing. But I mean, I think with all the quick cuts for that was a lot of it going through different floors and stuff. So,
well, Defoe powerbombed Holland like 2 or 3 times. So it was a nice little callback. Like
jackknife powerbomb.
Yeah.
I was taken aback. I giggled like a maniac. So I apologize to the 2 people that were to the right of me as Defoe was going psychotic on him. I have a tendency to do that when there's very violent actions and then it's just like a huge violent scene. I just kind of giggle because of the atrocity that is happening in front of me. I can't help it. I'm
writing it on my notepad.
I'm sorry. I just can't help it.
That's the running joke where like if Jared reveals things, I'm like, I'm writing it on my psychiatrist notepad.
It's amazing to me. It blows my mind. I have no other reaction to okay. You know? So yeah.
But Dash, what was your favorite Easter egg?
Because
you're somebody more steeped in the comics, so
I have a couple of them. One of them being Flash Thompson's book.
Flashpoint
Was called Flashpoint.
Isn't that a DC thing?
That could be a callback to the Flash's Flashpoint movie that we're getting, to which other Batman, older and other movies come together as well. I thought that was clever.
My boyfriend, Michael Keaton.
Happy Hogan's Pulp Fiction hair and picture.
That
thing. Yeah, that was was it Far From Home?
I don't know.
Or Homecoming, to where they had that kind of flashback or whatever, when he had that Pulp Fiction, he had that John Travolta Pulp Fiction look. I loved that. I love the new costume. I do.
Looks cool.
Very Amazing Fantasy 15. I think from what I gather it looks like he's taking a bit from Toby's suit and from Andrew's suit. I like the bright blue.
The bright blue, the baby blue.
Is that Toby's apartment he's in?
It's not.
It's not. It really reminded me of it.
And see, this is where I thought they missed an opportunity to bring in the landlord.
Stick.
Olga. I was hoping to see Olga.
Yeah.
Or have the door stick or something like that. The door stick would have
been, yeah. I did like Betty Brant's her callback to Kirsten Dunst to where when Tom Holland and Zendaya and all of them were coming into the school, she signed off by saying, "Go get them, Tigers," and that is a callback to Kirsten Dunst to where she would say, "Go get them, Tiger." I thought that was good. I love that I love Hannibal Buress. I'm a big fan of Hannibal Buress as the coach, and to where he's like a conspiracy theorist, and he's like, Mysterio was right. I liked that. Damn. The conversation about being in the Avengers.
That was cool.
He was like, "You're in a band."
That was really funny. Like that was a good joke.
It was, but it's just like, it was so good. I mean, and you can kind of go deeper with that to go, all right, are you in a band? And then you can go, you have the punk, Spider Punk, could be a kind of throwback to that as well from like the PS4 and like comics and stuff like that. I love the Spider
Number
Punk.
one costume I swung around
Really?
New York with. Yep, Spider Punk. That was the only costume I would wear as soon as I unlocked
I went
it.
black and gold.
Like the black and gold was beautiful though. Yeah.
But yeah, those were the ones for me. Of course, I mean, like Charlie Cox was from. I mean, if you saw my not so spoiler review of this, and that was really hard to do. I shot like 20 minutes of going, and then this, but I was sitting here going, "Oh, I said that a certain way." And that could be misconstrued. Let me take that out. And I ended up shorting it down to like 7 minutes. But I was like, that was tough.
Yeah. That's why I didn't do one, because I'm like, I don't know how I could talk about this movie without going into the spoilers.
I went to like people like 3C and Real Rejects and watched to see how they did their spoiler-free review. And I liked to where they were like, let's talk about like the writing. Let's talk about the costume and the cinematics of it. And I was like, that's a good point, because just to look at, all of the gotcha moments or the Easter eggs or cameos or whatever is one thing. I mean, that gives away a lot of stuff, but to sit back and go, that scene where they open up on like the Statue of Liberty with the shield is a beautiful scene, especially in IMAX. I mean, this was my first time seeing anything in IMAX, and I still don't understand why people don't see everything in IMAX.
Because I prefer not to leave residue on the seat.
Oh
yeah,
my!
I get that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Too much, too big, too beautiful, too awesome.
No,
I'm sorry.
I stayed drop jawed from the minute the intro video for IMAX came in. When the Sony logo popped up, it was so crisp. I was just like, huh.
I've seen movies in IMAX. I've seen movies in IMAX, and I shit myself with how amazing it is. It's just so
we're going to see Kingsman 3 next week, or the Kingsman in IMAX next week, and I can't wait.
I remember I saw Doctor Strange in IMAX in big IMAX, and wow,
just like the mirror.
Oh man, the mirror dimension.
Amazing. And so
I like that Peter defeated him with math. That was kind of fun. I went back to watch because I'm like, wait, how did Doctor Strange? How could he not get out of that 12 hours, right? So I went back and I watched that scene again. I'm like, oh, I see what Peter did. He figured out the mathematical dimensions of the mirror universe, which is super awesome. Math, science, smart people, yay! But the way that he tied up Doctor Strange within the structure of the mirror dimension, I mean, I don't know how, like you said, you think Doctor Strange getting out of that might be in the next movie. That we'll see. Yeah. But he did basically tie him up in such a way that, he couldn't make a spell. He couldn't really do anything. I mean, he is stuck. I had a qualm the first viewing was like, really, Doctor Strange got beat by Spider-Man? It just doesn't, I don't know, something about that, just because I love Doctor Strange. I don't know. But I suppose this universe Doctor Strange could get beaten by Peter Parker in this particular situation.
I think that's why I said I think we're going to see what happened. Maybe he wasn't tied up the whole time. Maybe things that happen in the Multiverse of Madness for Doctor Strange 2 happen within that same time frame.
Maybe.
I mean, I can see it. Just like, because you remember, he's like, this is why I never wanted to have kids. He's just he underestimates Peter, and that's why he got beat. I mean, there have been times where I underestimate people, and like I should have totally been able to beat. Like there was this bartender. She was like amazingly hot, but my dad was a pool shark. I should have been able to beat her single-handedly. Like it just, but I underestimated her because
And you were distracted.
I may have also been 15, but still, that's not the
Well,
point.
there's that.
That's not the point. That's
You were
not the
thinking
point.
about your other pool cue.
I was, yeah, but like, I mean, you just underestimate somebody just slightly, and all of a sudden, it's just like, oh, fuck, how am I in this mess?
That's fair.
You know?
That's totally fair. He underestimated him. He's pulling his punches a little bit. Didn't want to hurt Peter, right? So
he feels like he has to be Papa Tony. You know, he's got to be Papa, and what better way? You don't want to smash up Parker. I mean, look at what happens when the kid gets a little down.
True.
He destroys the multiverse.
What about you, Jared? Any Easter eggs, things that popped out at you?
To be honest with you, it was only the suit at the end there.
Yeah.
I didn't catch much at all. The brilliant blue, the shimmering blue. I felt like he was trying to make a statement about something with just how bright and brilliant all those colors were. Like it was almost too shiny instead of the subdued suit. So I don't know, but I was more about the violence in the movie. So
yeah. And that's the one thing that I brought up last night.
Stop it, Stephanie.
It happened so quick, and I'm gonna have to dive in and do some research on this to see if I can find still frames from that suit. But it looked like he didn't have the shutter lenses. His lenses looked like more like Andrew Garfield. That the plastic on the edging, the big lenses.
I mean, maybe you guys are right. He drew. I'm sorry, Stephanie.
I was gonna say he's literally taking things from Toby and Andrew, like both emotionally and physically in his suit. It's like a symbolism of he's actually taking the lessons that he learned from them and being his own Spider-Man. Yeah. That's good symbology, I think. Sorry, Jared, go ahead.
Oh no, that's actually what I was gonna say.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. That's awesome. I'm glad I didn't have to say it. Get out of there.
Awesome. Anything you want to end with here? We're gonna wrap things up here.
Awesome movie. I look forward to watching it again. Like I said, I think I'm not gonna apologize for my 9 out of 10 because that's a great score. So I'm not gonna apologize.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. It's just a great movie. And I said that to everybody who asked me. I can't imagine, like, my little nitpicks and qualms aside about the execution of how they did the story itself is pretty goddamn brilliant. It's pretty goddamn brilliant how they figured out the fact it is the end game of Spider-Man, right? People have been saying that it is the end game of Spider-Man. It is the end game of Spider-Man. The movie wouldn't have worked without those prior movies, right? It's building upon your nostalgia, but it's nostalgia done in a way that isn't fan servicey and cheap. There's an emotional reason behind the fan service and the nostalgia that they build on in the movie. They use, case in point, Andrew Garfield's face when he catches Zendaya. That is fan service, but that is fan service because it's closure for him getting to save somebody and forgive himself for what he didn't do. That's brilliant. It's brilliantly done. So 2 thumbs up. Qualms aside, 2 thumbs up. It's great. It's a great movie.
Jared, final thoughts?
I was gonna let you go, but all right. To that dude that said it was way too fan servicey, you can go fuck yourself, homie. I am talking directly to you because I'm looking at the camera. That was some shit. Like that was Into the Spider-Verse that we deserved. It was brilliantly done. There was no fan service that felt cheesy. There was nothing that felt over the top. There were a few things that they could adjust, but no movie is ever going to be perfect in every avenue. I think it was well executed. I liked what they did. I think it was brilliant. It didn't feel camp. It didn't feel as campy as I thought it would be. Even with the spoilers that I had, it felt amazing. It was awesome sauce. I love it. It was great. Dash.
For me, and I know this will never happen, but thank you to Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield and Alfred Molina and Willem Dafoe and Jamie Foxx and
Thomas Hayden Church.
Yeah, and
I can't remember the last guy's name. Something Sion, something like that. Yeah. Wish you would have had more Lizard. So
thank you, Marissa Tomei.
Oh.
Thank you. Who's Marissa Tomei?
Aunt May.
Oh.
Aunt May.
thank you to the director, the writers. This was like a huge thank you to Charlie Cox. Thank you, Charlie Cox. Thank you. This was like a huge undertaking. Like, and it's kind of crazy to go, this movie exists. This movie, you know, bad blood aside from maybe movies not working out or being replaced by other spider people, bad blood aside, these actors decided to put their differences aside to go, this was for the fans. This is why I'm doing it. It is not about working with Sony again or possibly doing a Spider-Man 4 in the future, because now we have rumors of that. It's not about that. I'm doing this for the fans. And I saw something what kind of got me spoiled yesterday before I left to go to the movie. I get on to Microsoft or whatever, the homepage, and I see Andrew Garfield and Charlie Cox have lied to us. Should we be mad? Fuck y'all. They did this shit. They did this shit for the fans because they know we fucking appreciate it. And a big just thank you to Disney and Marvel and Sony for coming together and letting us, the world, enjoy it, because this was an event. Like, this was history making movie. So that was my biggest takeaway, to where it was like it finally felt like the, not in a dirty way, Stephanie, but the fans got serviced
in a dirty way as well, but in a clean way.
Any way else to say it, but
there's no way that if you were approached,
when you've been serviced well,
yeah,
yes.
But I mean,
I felt relieved. I needed a cigarette afterwards. I was just like, I don't have asthma. I felt like I needed an inhaler for that movie, because it was go from like the get-go.
Yeah, it was exciting from the beginning.
I did enjoy how when they were at the top of the bridge, Zendaya and Tom Holland, it made you kind of feel like you were swinging with them. It was kind of cool. Yeah, like through the subway and all that stuff.
I'm glad I didn't see it in 3D, or I might have been a little sick.
Yeah,
because even in the theater, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, really.
I also want to say, I wish I could have a Doctor Strange spell to go back and hadn't had anything spoiled for me. And because of what we do, you know, the show, we had to talk about the spoilers and we had to watch the trailers. This is definitely a movie where people are like, oh, they lied to us. Well, the reason they had to lie to us is because we couldn't be patient and wait for the movie to come out. We had to go digging and we forced them to lie. So I don't have any problem with them lying. They had to do that. It's our fault they had to lie. Well, not ours, but collectively ours. But if none of that stuff had been spoiled, I mean, yeah, it would have been amazing, sure. But even it's Dan Murrell, my favorite dude, said it best. The movie isn't about the who and the what, or the it's like the why and the how. It's about the why. Why does Peter do these things? Why is Peter like this? Peter takes on Aunt May's thing to save people, to help people, and it hurts him. It is what kills May, but he still makes the decision that no, I still need to help people, even if I lose in the process. He actually learns to be selfless, and that's great. That's the character building moment of the movie, and that wouldn't have been spoiled. You can say that what happened, but even without that, the emotional why he does certain things was still there. The core and the heart of the movie is still there. So it's still a great movie.
Yep.
There you go.
I didn't even feel like it was spoiled for me at all.
Okay.
Like with all the little tiny tidbits that we learned, I'm just like, no, it doesn't feel like it even did it justice. Like even the small little tidbits, it was just kind of cool knowing. But
the way they brought him in was cool too. The sling ring, bringing him
would
in.
have never figured how all the small tidbits I would have never figured out. But I wish that we could be more patient, and I wish news sites had to have like a 2 to 3 week hiatus before they could post something without being absolutely sued into the ground. Dash Baker is so goddamn cute.
Oh my gosh, look at him.
I saw him do it. Oh my God, Baker, you are so adorable, buddy.
Yeah.
Just give him some love.
He knows I'm almost done. I'm wrapping up here. He just wants to play with twist ties. He wants to go chase.
I need a thumbnail though. I'm going to do a spoiler-free reaction. Probably going to be the shortest video ever though.
Okay.
So
Give
just
me
FYI.
send me a picture.
Send you a couple.
Yeah. All right, let's sign it out here. I'm Dash. Thank y'all so much for watching this very full of spoilers review. Stephanie, Jared, anything else you want to say here?
Love your faces.
Spider-Man does whatever a Spider-Man can.
Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe. Join us this Friday for our top 10 Christmas movie of all time here. Not to mention that Spider-Man No Way Home was a Christmas movie and did take place at Christmas.
Yep. And we'll have the finale of Hawkeye. We'll see how Spider-Man No Way Home fits into Hawkeye too.
There we go.
That'll be exciting.
All right. We'll talk to you later. I'm Dash.
I'm Stephanie.
I'm Jared.
All right. We'll see you Friday. Peace.
Cut the check.